I'm Lisa, a 28-year-old office worker. Currently, I work at my father's construction company. I am about to have my wedding soon. The groom, Brad, is my college classmate who asked me out. Now, we live together. Brad works at a company in the city while I work at my father's local company. He commutes by train, but I drive to work. Now, with our wedding just 3 months away, I'm busy with preparations every day. Brad usually gets home around 7 p.m., so I usually take care of the cooking since I get home earlier. On weekends, Brad takes care of cleaning the house and the bathroom. I love cars, especially driving. Thanks to my father's company, I even have a crane license. Being only 5 feet 1 inch tall and having a youthful face, I often surprise people when they see me in work clothes operating a crane on site. Well, I do enjoy seeing their astonished faces. One day, I was about to go shopping by car. I was going with my best friend, Emily. We've been friends since elementary school and even attended the same university. She's my closest confidant. We were heading to a newly opened outlet mall. It's in the neighboring prefecture, a bit far, but we decided to go for a drive. I headed to the convenience store meeting point and met up with Emily. Sorry to keep you waiting, did you wait long? No, I just bought some coffee. Want some, Lisa? Emily's coffee looked tempting, so I took her up on the offer. Thanks, I'll take one. I'll set the navigation in the meantime. Okay. Emily cheerfully agreed and went into the convenience store. While setting the destination on the car navigation, I accidentally pressed the history button. This panel is so unresponsive. Just as I was about to switch the screen. What's this history? The history showed Hotel Lovely Chateau. What's this? Of course, I've never searched for such a place. This is my car, but Brad uses it sometimes. Brad must have used it. Well, it's fine. I didn't dwell on it and continued setting the navigation. Emily and I then headed to the outlet mall. We soon got onto the highway. It was a nice day for a drive. Near an interchange, Emily pointed out, "Look, Hotel Lovely Chateau." Such an outdated name for a hotel, haha. Lovely Chateau, the hotel from the navigation record. I only glanced briefly as I was driving, but there was indeed a big sign for Hotel Lovely Chateau. Really outdated, haha, I laughed along, but the name being in the history did bother me. After Emily and I finished shopping, I dropped her off at her home. Alone, I reached my house and checked the car navigation history again. Searching for Hotel Lovely Chateau, it displayed the location near that interchange again. It was indeed that hotel. That hotel was unmistakably that kind of place. Why did Brad search for that hotel? I decided to keep an eye on Brad's actions. I opted to install a dashcam in my car. I mentioned it to Brad, and he agreed, saying, "Sounds good. Many cars have them nowadays, and it's good for safety. But you should pay for it since it's your car," he added. Even though the car is in my name, Brad uses it too, so I ended up getting him to pay for a part of it. The next day, after work, I drove straight to the dealer to have a dashcam installed in my car. It has cameras for the front, rear, and inside of the car. The recording time is 5 hours, and it overwrites older footage once that limit is exceeded. I also installed a GPS logger as an extra measure. This device records travel details using GPS. After Brad used the car, I checked both the dashcam footage and the GPS logger data. I mainly use the car for commuting, so Brad typically uses it on weekends. Of course, he always asks for my permission beforehand. One weekend, Brad asked, "Can I use the car this Saturday?" "Sure, where are you going?" I asked. He replied, "To the shopping mall you went to. A friend wants to check it out." Which friend? "Just a colleague from work. He lives nearby." "Is it a woman, by any chance?" "Of course not, haha. He's a macho guy, much bulkier than me." Well, bring me back a souvenir." "Got it. You'd want something to eat, right?" "Yeah, I'd love something sweet." "All right, understood." Then the weekend arrived. As planned, Brad left on Saturday and returned in the evening. Upon returning home, I waited for the perfect moment and then said, "I think I left something in the car." I got into the car and retrieved the memory card and the GPS logger. After Brad went to sleep, I checked the GPS logger and memory card. The GPS logger showed he indeed went to the shopping mall. But on the way back, he made a detour at an interchange. Zooming in on the location, it was Hotel Lovely Chateau. This was clearly a red flag, and our wedding was just next month. I felt my fingers trembling as I operated the device. Still in shock, I composed myself and checked the memory card. I inserted the memory card into my computer and played the recorded footage. What appeared first on the screen was an unfamiliar woman in the passenger seat. She was dressed flamboyantly, with long hair and a pretty look. She seemed older than me but had a youthful smile. I was too shocked to think, just staring at the screen. The conversation was also recorded. "You really are something else. To be doing this with our wedding next month." She laughed and said, "It's fine. I'm marrying her because her dad is the company president. He might be a construction magnate, but he's loaded with money," Brad said. But once you get married, does that mean it's over for us?" "No way. You're the one for me. I plan to divorce her in about a year. Of course, I'll make it seem like it's her fault. Get a nice settlement and her parents' fortune. Then, I'll be with you." Wait a year? No, we'll keep seeing each other during that time. I can't stand a day without you. That makes me happy. Brad, I love you. I love you too, Megan. I stopped the playback. I couldn't watch any longer. Brad was clearly cheating. And he was marrying me just to take over my father's company? Even when he proposed to me and we spent my birthday at a seaside hotel. It was all a facade. Why? My vision blurred with tears as I looked at the computer screen. The next day, I said I was going home for a while to prepare for the wedding. Brad agreed without much thought. Maybe for Brad, it was a relief to have me gone. I told my parents, "I'm feeling a bit uneasy, so I want to spend some time there to calm down." They seemed to think it was just pre-wedding jitters. They happily agreed. A few days later, my best friend, Emily, contacted me. Thinking I could tell Emily the truth, I shared everything with her. Emily said, "Got it. I'm going to Lisa's place today, so let's drink the night away together." Emily, despite her cute appearance, has quite a manly side. But that's what I like about her. I told my parents it was my last party as a single woman. Soon after, Emily arrived with drinks and snacks. "Mom, I'm taking Lisa for tonight. We might get a bit loud, but please bear with us." As soon as she arrived, Emily cracked a joke. "Oh dear, I know you'll be loud, but don't drink too much. Here, I made some stew, take it and eat." My mom had thoughtfully prepared snacks. Wow. Thank you so much. I was wondering what that delicious smell was. It was the stew, wasn't it? Oh, and can I invite one more friend? Of course, make it a party to remember for Lisa. Thank you. So, I called another friend, Hannah. She was a high school classmate. Interestingly, she's now a planner at the wedding venue we booked, and we reconnected there as she's in charge of our wedding. She and Emily went to the same high school and had met a few times, so now they're quite close. Then the three of us, including myself, started the party. I showed them the dashcam recording. Then Emily said, "I know her. She's Megan, a junior from our college club." Lisa wasn't in the club, so you wouldn't know her. But I knew her and Brad from the club. I was shocked to hear this. What? Brad's junior? I thought she was older than me. She's always been mature for her age. But Megan, huh? She's invited to the wedding. Most of our club members are coming. Emily talked while poking at the stewed radish. But it's frustrating to let it end like this. I want to get back at him somehow, said Hannah, crushing an empty beer can. She had a strong sense of justice and even caught a molester in high school and handed him over to the police. Upset as if it were her own matter, she was fuming. Hearing her talk of revenge, Emily began to speak. Let's ruin the wedding then. I have an idea. Saying that, Emily began writing something on a piece of paper. What do you think? We'll need Hannah's help for this. Can you help us, thinking of it as aiding Lisa? Of course. I'm the planner for this wedding, so I can make anything happen. Having Hannah, the planner, on our side significantly increased the chances of our plan's success. Wow, that's reassuring. Hey, you two, don't drink too much. And thus, the plan was finalized. As I covered the sleeping duo with blankets, I said, "Thank you, Emily, Hannah." I had drunk too much myself, but I felt a bit relieved. The next day, I returned to Brad's place. A few days after returning home, I executed our first plan. While watching the recording, Emily had found it. One day after work, I arranged to meet Brad at the station and have dinner outside. We drove to a family restaurant in my car. After dinner, I dropped Brad off at home first and then parked the car. Then, acting utterly surprised and delighted, I went into the living room and said, "Brad, you're so sneaky. Preparing something like this without telling me." Huh? Brad made a weird noise, surprised by my sudden words. "This is a present for me, right? I found it in the car." Saying that, I showed Brad the paper bag containing a luxury brand bag. The brand's name was boldly printed on the bag. The rear window of the car was dirty, so I thought of cleaning it. When I went to get the cleaning tools from under the back seat, I found this. "Oh Brad, you were trying to surprise me by hiding it there, right?" "Sorry, I found it, haha." I feigned joy and pretended to be thrilled. That's... Brad stammered. "Eh? Is there someone else you would give something like this to?" "Haha, silly me. There's no one else for me but you, Lisa." "Ha ha ha. That's right. You bought it for me, didn't you? How much was it?" "Around $2,000? Thank you." Yes. It's a limited edition, cost about $5,000, I guess?" "Well, I thought it would suit you, Lisa. It was meant to be a surprise." "Oh well, haha. Huh. It seems a bit youthful, but I can still pull it off, right?" "Of course. Any bag suits you, Lisa." "Haha. Hey, that's not exactly a compliment." Sorry. I'll treasure it. Thanks a lot." Haha. When I heard his final sigh, I had to try hard not to laugh. In the party video, I had seen Brad being pestered by Megan for an expensive bag. Later, I confirmed that he bought the luxury bag and hid it under the rear seat of the car. I found it and claimed it as mine. At dinner that evening, Brad kept sighing. Serves him right. A few days later, my father called. He had indulged in one of his bad habits. He had bought a new car. My father has always loved cars and has owned several. He said that while driving on the national highway after work, he stopped in front of a used car center and impulsively bought a car he had always admired, thinking he'd never get another chance. Dad, Mom must have been mad, right? Getting scolded is nothing. Listen, it's a discontinued Type R. I've always wanted this car. I couldn't miss this opportunity. I can't wait for it to be delivered. Geez. You never think about the consequences. What will you do with your current car? I'll give it to you. It's still in good shape. It's way better than these flimsy new cars. The hatchback, right? I've been getting bored of my current one, haven't I? Just sell that thing. What's the fun in driving an automatic, weak car like that? But suddenly, I had an epiphany. Okay, got it. I'll do that. Thanks, Dad. Sure. The car will be delivered next week, so come and pick it up by then. I'll have it all cleaned up for you. All right. But Dad, this has to be your last indulgence, okay? Don't say that. A man's passion never ends, haha. Yeah. Thanks though. I hung up the phone with a sly smile on my face. And a few days later, my car changed. Lisa, did you get a new car? It looks cooler than the last one. Yes. Dad bought a new car and gave me his old one. It's cooler than the previous one, right? Yeah, it's cool. Let me borrow it this Saturday, okay? Sure, you can. It felt like a fish had bitten the bait. Then on Saturday, Brad took the car keys and left, only to return almost immediately. Hey, that car. What's wrong? It won't start? No, it's not that. I can't drive it. You can't drive it? Yeah. What's the matter? I drove it just fine yesterday. Well, it's a manual car. So? What's the issue? Well, I only have an automatic license. Oh. That's right. Haha. It's not funny. I can't drive now. It's a problem if I can't use a car. Why is that a problem? Shall I drive for you? No, that's also a problem. It's my day off, I don't want to bother you. Huh? It's fine by me. No, it's okay. I'll manage somehow. Really? Well, have a good day then. As if he could manage. Serves him right. The car my father gave me was a manual. I have a manual license, so it's no issue for me, but Brad only has an automatic license. Legally, he can't drive that car. Not to mention, he probably wouldn't know how to drive it. I knew he used my car for dates every week. I changed the car for that very reason. It's my car, in my name, I'm free to do as I please. Another serve him right moment. Then, a week before the wedding, I received a call and was summoned to a designated place. Hello, I'm Lisa. I greeted them. Ah, Lisa. Sorry to call you out like this. The person greeted me back. No problem. So, how did it go? Well, please have a seat. I'll explain everything. I was led to a conference room and took a seat. Regarding your request. Yes, this was a detective agency. I had asked them to investigate Brad's conduct. Regarding Brad, he's definitely been unfaithful. We've secured photos and videos. Would you like to see them? Yes, please show me. He took out a laptop, inserted a USB drive, and started playing the video. There they were, walking arm in arm, flirting, and then entering a hotel. The date and time of the video showed it was from the Saturday before last, in the afternoon. The photos showed them kissing, embracing, and more. Thank you, that's enough. I collected the evidence and left the agency. Though I had suspected infidelity, confronting the stark reality was hard. I contacted Emily and Hannah to meet at a pub. We got a private room and I showed them the evidence I received that day. Then our analysis meeting began. Wow, this is quite blatant. The photos are quite something too. They both commented. I've lost all sympathy for him. Now, it's time to completely crush him. I took a big sip of my beer. Hey, Lisa, can I borrow this? Emily asked. What for, Hannah? I was supposed to make a slideshow for the bride and groom. I'll just add these in. It's easy. All right. Now, we just wait for the big day. Emily raised her beer mug, let's do this, everyone, and we toasted. Everyone worked so hard for me, and I felt so touched that I almost cried, but I held it back. Then, the big day finally arrived. On the day of the wedding, it was hectic and busy from the morning. Upon arriving at the venue, makeup started immediately, followed by hairstyling and dressing. Everything proceeded according to schedule, regardless of my personal state. When I saw myself in the mirror wearing the white wedding dress, I realized I was living the dream I had always cherished. Yet, feeling this way while wearing it brought tears to my eyes. Mom said, now, a bride shouldn't cry before the ceremony. She wiped my tears. Sorry, Mom, these aren't happy tears. The ceremony ended, and the reception began. Before entering, Hannah gave me a reassuring smile. Brad was all smiles, oblivious. I could only manage a forced smile. The reception proceeded without a hitch. Then came the time for the bride's letter to her family. The room dimmed, and only my parents and I were spotlighted. I was handed the microphone. But I didn't read the letter. Turning to the audience, I began to speak calmly. Ladies and gentlemen gathered here today, thank you for coming. Normally, I would express my farewells and gratitude to my parents and leave with the man I love. However, the room fell silent, taken aback by my unexpected speech. Hannah gave me an okay sign from the corner of the stage. The real bride is not me. As I declared this, the room burst into murmurs. The real bride is Megan, Brad's junior from college. He told me she is his true love. I have the proof. As I finished, the spotlight moved to one person in the audience. It shone on Megan. Then, upbeat music played, and a slideshow started. It showed them holding hands, kissing, and entering a hotel, one scene after another. Then the music stopped, and the video of that particular conversation scene started playing loudly. The venue immediately became chaotic. What's going on here? The groom needs to explain himself. Amidst the shouts, I handed the microphone to a pale-faced Brad, smiled to his parents, and stepped off the stage. I was then hurriedly pulled out of the venue by Emily and Hannah. Behind me, the commotion had become uncontrollable. Still in my dress, I was led by Hannah to an unused dressing room. Emily brought my belongings and clothes, and I quickly changed and left the wedding venue. Then, Emily drove me home in her car, and I finally had a moment to breathe. We did it. Haha, we sure did. Despite causing such a ruckus, I felt surprisingly exhilarated. After the dramatic events at the wedding, I packed my things and returned to my parents' home. I was scolded quite a bit by my parents when they returned, but since Brad was the cause, it wasn't too harsh. My father took care of the aftermath. Though the wedding was almost over, it ended in a breakup, so we had to return the gifts, but everyone understood the situation. And it was resolved smoothly. Brad had it tough. His infidelity was exposed, and with the wedding ruined, his parents had to pay all the expenses. Moreover, his boss was present, so his workplace found out. He had been emailing Megan during work hours, which led to his demotion. He wasn't fired but couldn't bear the work environment after such a scandal and soon quit. Meanwhile, Megan, the other woman, obviously couldn't end up with Brad after the fiasco, and they broke up. Since we had already completed the engagement rituals, I broke off the engagement and demanded compensation from Brad for emotional distress and other expenses. Brad had spent most of his savings on the wedding preparations, so his parents covered the costs. Without any particular skills, Brad struggled to find a full-time job again. He's currently working part-time to repay his debts. Of course, I also demanded compensation from Megan. She had been disowned by her parents for bad behavior and had no savings, so she borrowed money from a shady lender. Now, she's working in the nightlife industry to pay off her debt. While it doesn't fully compensate for the emotional pain I suffered, it feels somewhat just. I took a leave of absence from work, thanks to my father's kindness, and decided to travel to Alaska. In times like these, people tend to head north rather than south. Hannah, who had also played a role in the chaos, had quit her job at the venue. Feeling a bit guilty, I decided to invite her to Alaska with me. I paid for the trip with the compensation I received from Brad. We traveled by car and used the ferry for the round trip. On the return ferry, I befriended a pair of male bikers and exchanged contact details, agreeing to meet again in New York. The two were colleagues from the same company, making annual bike trips to Alaska. When I told Emily about this back in New York, she got mad at me for not inviting her. So now, we're planning a 3-on-3 group date, adding one more person to include Hannah. After everything, I've regained my spirits. Well, life is full of ups and downs. Such things happen, I tell myself, and I'm determined to keep moving forward.